What's up and welcome back to Cleats to Whistle podcast. I am Brad Valdez and we're here back at Moore High School. We have the head coach, Mekale McKay. We have Coach Devin. I don't want to butcher your last name, man. And Russell Vaden over here, the assistant coaches. Man, it's just a year in review of your season, man, and how it went. 6-5, right? 6-5. Man, let's just jump into it, man. Let's do it. Okay, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the season, man. So let's just break it down, really, and just and start with the good, man.
So I'm going to start off, man. What a year this year was, building this team, putting this coaching staff together. Took a commitment from us to bring in like-minded guys to come in and, try to change the culture. Exactly what we did, man. We had a great season. It wasn't what we wanted it to be. But we made lots of improvement. We got guys playing the way we wanted to play. We just were all about changing the culture and getting these guys to respect the M. So I think we did a great job this year.
There we go. From the outside, I see nothing but good. You know what I mean? You guys started the season phenomenal. You know what I mean? But then you hit them roads. You know what I mean? Them bumps in the road. And how did you guys? How did you face adversity? You know what I mean? When you guys hit that little skid.
I mean, it's a little different. I would say it's normal to me. I played here. Growing up here, we was average. We was never great. Like, we always was mediocre teams. So we had to have a chip on our shoulder and an understanding that you're not going to win every game. But if you can take what you learned from that last game and be better in the next game, then you'll understand it a little bit better. Overall, they did a cool job of understanding that that's the mentality of what needs to happen. But they're still learning how to win. They went from winning 2 to 3 games to winning 6. And then some of those games they really shouldn't have won. And the games that we should have won, we lost. So, it's a concept of understanding that there's a winning mentality all the time and being able to understand it. And that's the standard. And nothing is below the standard. So.
Yeah, there you go. I was, I came to a live. I tried to get to more of you guys. You know what I mean? Because that was impressive. I went to the North Bullet. Man, what a phenomenal game! You guys gave up the opening kickoff, but then, hey, you guys locked in. Hey, what I wanted to do is really talk about, at these schools. You know what I mean? The Moores, the Doss, the Senecas, you know what I mean? All those type of schools, you always need quarterback play. And you guys found your quarterback. And how has his progression been from the jump?
Oh, yeah, I can. Going into this year, I think we knew the challenges we were going to face with having a true freshman quarterback. There was ups, there was downs. I think there was games that he really played well in. The one that you just mentioned, North Bullet. I know we came out on a sour end of that game. That was a really tough loss. But that was some of the most impressive throwing I had seen him done all year. He threw with confidence. He threw, accurately. And just looking forward to this next season, working with him to continue to improve. Trusting his blocks is one of the biggest things. And then just, trusting himself and not, feeling like he has to do it all. That was some of the bumps we faced a lot along the way was getting behind the chains and then him feeling like he had to, play superhero and get it all back for us. And, but yeah, no, I mean, I think, we found a guy. I'm really excited to see how he continues to progress, like I said, next year. But seeing flashes from him this year that we knew were there is very promising, but also, fulfilling as a coach.
Yeah, because I'll tell you that deep ball, he had 3 deep balls that game were phenomenal, man. I think one was a drop. The other one, the kid had made a phenomenal catch. It was impressive, man. But now I looked through the your guys' season, and the defense didn't play bad, man. The defense really played well. It's just you were in those tight ball games. You know what I mean? You got a true freshman that might have, caused some issues. But unbelievable defense. Obviously, South Warren. We're not going to, we're not just going to. So yeah, you know what I mean. But talk about your defense.
Overall, it was from where they came from. They did a tremendous job. When I first got the job, I was more so like, what is about to happen? Like, not really understanding like the guys that I had. Like, they didn't really understand the concept of football knowledge, no football savviness. Like, they have so much potential, but they were around the wrong people to try to bring it out of them. And I think when I got here, well, I'm probably the youngest on the staff, so I was a little bit more relatable. Literally just got done playing and kind of just came in to help out, not knowing that this could be something that I could do. And, they kind of took heed to it. We kind of worked on things every day, continually working on things. They started to buy in, and, the rest was history. So, I mean, they played solid. We got a lot more improvement to do. We was ranked in a lot of areas, but hopefully we can continue those rankings and not only be ranked, but be one of those teams to be reckoned with. So.
Yeah, that was a great answer. And Coach, you know what I mean. You took over this program. Did you have like a vision of what your season was going to be, or did it what's that called, overachieve?
Overachieve? No, not at all. We definitely had a vision. It was change the culture from day one. When I got hired at the job, I knew that there were some guys that I wanted to bring in for sure. Like Coach Moutardier, who coached on my staff, the middle school staff last year. Coach McIntosh, who is my gym partner. We talk a lot. He's actually coached on previous staffs for more. And then, running into a guy like Russ, who has been a friend of mine, since he's been playing, since I've been here. And just hearing him, want to come back. That's what does it. That's what does it for me. That's what makes this doable for me. Getting guys that are like-minded, guys that are fresh off the playing field, guys that have resources to get in front of these kids and let them know that we have some of the things that every other team in this city has, and we're going to do our best to bring it out of these guys to help them show it on film, not only on film, bring the resources in front of them so they can have a chance to play at the next level. So I don't think we overachieved at all. We got a big chip on our shoulder coming into next year. We got a district championship runner-up, but we like gold trophies, not silver ones.
There we go. Fire me up. Let's go. Oh, okay. And this is just for you, Devin. Go ahead and shout out one of your players, man, that you want to just show some love to, man.
So coaching the offensive line, I would probably say one of my consistent players week in and week out, a leader in the huddle, a leader on the field, a guy we always, could count on, would be Emmanuel Ndamba is his last name. Really, hoping to get him to the next level. He's a senior, but he was consistent. He was our left tackle. One of the things I was really proud of our offensive line this year was I think we gave up less than 10 traditional sacks. I want to say closer to 5. And he didn't give up any. Led the team in, those big pancake, impact blocks that really get the team fired up. He, was just a rock for us when we had guys get hurt. We were down our starting center against South Warren. We were down our starting right tackle the last 2 games of the season. He was always there, always somebody we could lean on. Never got down if we were in a tight game or in a game where the plays weren't going the way we wanted to. So I want to give him a shout out. Just being a huge leader. But I also Marco is a senior, our center. Robert, who was a guard, who most of the preseason didn't even practice with the offensive line. He was practicing with other positions. Stepped in when we needed him when our starting guard got hurt game 1 and was out for the rest of the season. So we're losing a lot of seniors on the big man. That's probably going to be one of our biggest challenges next year is our bigs. And he was somebody that is definitely going to be missed, and somebody's going to have to step up to fill those shoes for sure.
There you go. And Russ, man, you're like I said, shouted out your defense, man. They played phenomenal. Go ahead and show some love to those guys, man.
Off the top of my head, I could probably. I mean, everybody says that we played great. Not to my standards. I will say one that continuously showed up and showed out was Keon Johnson. He's more so like my outside linebacker, ace kind of guy. He's a DB, but he can play as a linebacker if needed to. He played tremendous throughout the year. Was very consistent in his tackles. One thing that I would like to see out of Keon more so now is just being able to excel in the game and making plays on the field, going for strips, making sacks, playing interceptions, just being able to read a defense. I mean, being able to read offenses a little bit better, so that when his opportunity is coming, he's taking full advantage of. He's one of those guys. And I would say Day, he's probably another one. My corner, he just was he's a basketball player, came back to play football, and he stepped up tremendously. He made a lot of plays that my guys that I had when I first got here in the summer that wasn't making those plays, and he kind of led us in that back end of being a corner, making those plays, stepping up, and being that guy to show up and show out. So, just tremendous shouts to those two guys. That are very consistent in what they do. But like I said, my whole defense played well, but those two tremendously stood out to me. So those is my shout-outs.
There you go. And you guys had some adversity at the North Bullet game. Wallace, Javis, he went down. You know what I mean? I seen him on the sideline. He tried to stay warm. He tried to do what he could do. You know what I mean? But you guys had a guy step up.
And that was Keon. That's what he's talking about. Just a reliable guy. He actually led the Mustangs for the past 2 years at quarterback, where, he was trying to put the pieces to the puzzle together and it just wouldn't click, to where I kind of put a little bit more on his play this year. Russ did as well. Challenged him on the defense side of the ball, actually playing in space. And we challenged him being a tight end, taking on some of those lead blocks and actually being a receiving tight end for us as well. And he stepped up tremendously, and, we appreciate that, and we're looking forward to putting more on his plate this upcoming season.
Yeah, there we go, man. And that's what it is, you know what I mean? I watch you guys. You know what I mean? I watch staffs, how they communicate on the sidelines, man. You know what I mean? You're giving high fives coming up. You guys are just motivating the kids. You know what I mean? And that's what fires me up, is because you guys are locked in. You guys got that brotherhood going. And man, it just gives you chills, because it's unbelievable. Because, you know what I mean? Like, first staffs, you know what I mean? Yeah, you came up with him. You know what I mean? You got Russ to come in. But everybody buying in, and that's what it's all about. There you go, man. But was there something bad that happened? You know what I mean? We talk about the good. Let's talk about the bad a little bit.
Man. So speaking on the bad, it can be a lot of it can be explained in a lot of ways. I would say it's more so of young men being misled by the wrong people. Is a lot of what was going on. Kind of had a couple seniors acting a certain way, and which led to a consequence that had to be put into place. So we missed those guys in those games. The North Bullet game, we had our starting middle linebacker that wasn't out there, so we had to use a backup. So just imagine if we had a starting linebacker in that game, how different could it be? So, and it's not even our DBs. A lot of them, they kind of soft. So when it's not going their way, it's like, I can pout, I can do this, I can do that to try to get coach's attention. But I played long enough to know, and I've understood it, that it's not going to get you nowhere. That's a principle in life. And I think my kids, they didn't really understand it, but they also didn't understand that it's a way to do things. It's a certain way to do things. It's a certain way to handle yourself as a young man. And if you don't do it, the world is going to eat you alive. And it's the same as on the football field. It's just it's life in between lines. That's what I tell them all the time. So, that's my take on it. I don't think that they was misled by the wrong people, so which leads to bad performances. So
there you go. And do you want to chime in on anything, man?
Oh no, I mean, yeah, I think Russ hit the nail on the head. I mean, we had, some guys that were kind of set in their ways and things like that, and had guys miss games and stuff like that because we needed to, show them that we're serious about changing the culture, and changing the culture starts with, sometimes you have to make decisions where guys don't get to play to show the younger guys that are going to be coming up that this is what happens, and then we're sticking to our word and standing on that and things like that. Yeah, I mean, I think another one of the ugly parts of the season, is just, when you take those losses and trying to deal with them as, like, a first-year staff. And, like, I think being a young coach, at least that for me, you lose a game and it's like, they don't see the practices. You know what I'm saying? So game days are when like everybody sees it, and you're like, that's what I'm assessed on. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And so it's like you lose those games, and you really, I'd take it personal for sure. And then and my wife tells me not to, but it's hard not to. And I remember, I think it was the Lafayette game. We reflect on that, and we're saying at halftime, like, there's no way we lose this game. Like, we're exactly where we want to be. Defense forced like 4 or 5 turnovers. But we just couldn't put the ball in the end zone and ended up losing that game. And I went into like a depressive state. It was horrible, man. Like,
you do that though, man.
Horrible.
You do that.
But then you bounce back a couple weeks later, and you have the highs of like the Seneca game where I'm almost in tears because it's been such a long like process of like responding to a loss and trying to get these guys to bounce back. And you're investing so much into it that when that win does happen, you not only you feel good for yourself, but you feel so good for the kids. And so responding to some adversities like that as well, with trying to get the kids not to get down on themselves, the coaches get down on themselves because we're young, you know what I mean? Some of these emotions, it's like the first couple of times we're feeling it. And then, having a guy like McKay where, you were talking about the defense and stuff like that, when we felt like the offense was struggling, being able to be like, hey, we need to sit down and, talk as the offensive coaches, and him having, an open door, we were able to do that and have a real open discussion that we're, just hoping to build on for sure for next year.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to get to next, is like the ugliness, you know what I mean? You guys having to face fears, you know what I mean, and face each other and answer the questions. You know what I mean? Was that the ugly part of your season this year?
I would say what bit us in the butt the most is just having inexperienced guys. Having to play a freshman quarterback, which is one of my guys. Of course, everyone knows that. My staff knows that. And pressuring him like no other. Won't lie to you, man. I put a ton of pressure on him. I don't know how many times Russ told me to stop putting so much pressure on Javis. But that's just how I am, man. I played as a true freshman in college and in high school. And I see the talent in him. Do I think that's going to get him to the NFL or Division I college? No, but I know it will help him. And kind of creating this new culture that we're building with the freshman quarterback, having guys around him to be responsive. He's having to go through the adversity of, upsetting his teammates when he throws an interception or, doing something bad. And a senior, this their last year that they get to play this game at the high school level. And, anything that doesn't go right means the most to them. So just having a lot on his shoulders, to me, it may seem like adversity or it may seem like, troublesome, but I think that'll be what makes us so great.
In the phenomenal answers, man. But what's crazy is when I came in here and I did player profiles, you know what I mean? I didn't have no negative vibes, no nothing, man. The kids were respectful and they just felt like they bought in. And I think that was week 4. I think I was here. I can't remember what week. Yeah, you know what I mean? You guys, but the kids were phenomenal. They bought in. Even on the sidelines, you didn't just see them standing down or sitting down. You know what I mean? They were up. They were engaged. You had one kid that got hurt. He came off. He sat down. I don't know what happened at North Bullitt. But besides that, man, it's just these kids look like they bought into you.
And I want to kind of piggyback up on that, man, on the North Bullitt game, man. What an atmosphere it is. Playing in JCPS, having turf fields with light shows and things like that, man. That's huge to kind of changing the culture as well within JCPS football. Because some of our kids were shocked. They couldn't believe it. It just made them feel like they were somewhere that they weren't. And I think, some of that pressure comes with it, especially being inexperienced. And, like you see, it turns those games up, man. It makes this football stuff beautiful.
Yeah. And I got one question about the North Bullitt game, all right? And it was the ending of the game. Okay. I was floored. I was on the other side of the field. I had to run all the way down just to get it. And then I got there, and it was over.
Yeah, it was over.
Okay. Well, what happened on that play call?
I'll take this one, man.
I was in the headset telling him to drop it, man. What happened?
Hey, man, it's just
we hadn't installed the tush push yet.
Yeah, hey, it's the beautiful part of football, man, where it's one play that dictates the whole game. And a guy like me, I'm advanced when it comes to offense. I like nuances in offenses, and I like options. So we just ran a play that gave our quarterback 2 options, and we just had a guy blitzing hot, and we had no response for him. And that was it. It's something that sat on my mind for a while until my coaches kind of talked it out of me. But that's what I live for. That's why I coach. And that's why we traveled to North Bullitt, because we wanted to win that game. So no tying the game, a district game on the road where we just scored a touchdown in the final seconds of the game. I had nothing on my mind but win that game. My players in the huddle was behind me, and they felt that that's what they wanted to do. We just missed a little bit on execution, and we fell short that game. But we'll be looking forward to it next year.
I was like, oh my God, man, I got to get down there, and it was phenomenal ending. I'm like, this dude, he went for it, and it was amazing, man. I walked out of there, and I was just like, man, these kids are impressive. Both sides of the ball. On North Bullitt, you know what I mean. They had a really good season. You know what I mean? They went 5-5 and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? But dude, it was just a hell of a game, man.
And I mean, like 80-yard drive with no timeouts and a minute left, and so yeah. I mean, the ending is the big thing, but yeah, that was huge for us. It built a lot of confidence for guys.
Okay, and I got just a couple more questions, man. During the season, you learn about yourself. You know what I mean? You figured things out, man. Well, what's one thing that you learned about yourself this year?
That I am a player's coach. That's something that I've honed in on. I think that's probably the easiest way that I can relate to them, because that's the way I related to my coaches. I respected that they let me play, but they also was more so of an understanding of having structure when you playing. And I kind of really got into coaching because my coach passed away, and he was very passionate about the things that he did. He brought the best out of me when I played. So when he kind of passed, it was like a reality check of like understanding that like if you're gonna do it to the fullest, and don't short sell yourself on whatever you got going on. And I think I honed in on it, and I kind of gave my all to the kids, and it was receptive back. So I think that's the bonus of doing the job that we're doing, is not only are you teaching them football, but you're teaching them life and how to carry yourself as a young man. So I mean, I learned a lot about myself for sure, but that's probably the biggest one for sure.
Devin?
Yeah, man. I actually watched the one we did in the summer right before, like the scrimmage at J-Town, just thinking about, I think the thing that I focused on or learned about myself was probably needing to be more vocal. Like, I feel like I developed those relationships with those kids, taught them the great technique, like vastly improved over the year. But just being more vocal in terms of like, I feel like sometimes I'm a sit back and observe guy, and I feel like sometimes it comes back to bite you in the butt if you do it for too long. You know what I mean? So like my attitude and stuff was way different on game day than practice days, and I feel like sometimes that kind of would like players would react to it unexpectedly or whatever. And so just being more vocal in like practice and being more, vocal in games and things like that, with, my side of the opinions and views and things like that, just to get the best out of these kids like at all times, rather than, sit back and watch. And then when you do say something, the kid's like, well, where's this coming from? You know what I mean? So things like that. But yeah, I mean, it was a great season.
Yeah. What about you, Coach? What you learned about yourself, man?
I learned that I need to take Advil after every game. No, man. I would just say just an overview of the season. Looking back, I would like my players to be more prepared for games. So I would say if I would want to learn anything about myself, is that I can't expect these players to play at a level that I want them to play if I don't have some sort of proof that they fully understand and grasp a lot of the things that are coming to them. Because, like I said, man, I love nuances. We always, want to defeat our opponents by studying them and by game planning on them. And as a coaching staff, I think we did great upon that. Sometimes I think it may have been a little bit too complex for our guys, and that's why I speak back on that lack of experience. These guys just having little to no experience on some of the things that, I grew up as a 6, 7, 8-year-old doing and learning. I don't know if you guys ever heard the power in the P's, but the proper preparation prevents poor performance. So I feel like if we can get our guys to prepare properly, no matter what it takes, that's a philosophy that we'll have to work on. But that prevents poor performance, and some of those games, even close wins or close losses, if you defeat the preparation portion of that, then your performance won't be so poor.
There you go. And this is the last question for you guys as a staff, man. And you could answer this. You know what I mean? Do you guys do you guys feel like you guys grew together, and now you can communicate?
Like I said, I mean, I think it was like after that North Bullet game, like, telling McKay that I feel like we had kind of gotten away from what we were, doing well as a staff, especially offensively, and just needing to have like a sit down, one-on-one, like man-to-man, eye-to-eye conversation, rather than like being like, oh, I'll wait till the end of the season to bring that up, and then if things just get worse, in terms of like keeping those things inside and whatnot. I mean, we definitely always had open lines of communication. Again, I think, like I said myself, need to be more vocal. I think as a staff, we can always be more vocal with bringing those things up, like, hey, we need to talk, or things like that. I definitely, and, I think we talked about at the beginning of this year at that J-Town scrimmage how accountable we hold the kids. So as a staff, we're going to hold each other accountable, knowing each person's going to do their job. One of the biggest things I was just proud of was like hearing from like the teachers in our school about how much better our kids were this year. You know what I mean? Like, football field's great, but I think that was one thing we did great as a staff, I feel like, was holding these kids accountable and making them mature, not only on the football field but as men as well.
Yeah, so having them hard talks, that's basically what I was asking. You know what I mean? You guys can have them hard talks now and not get that hurt feelings and everything else. And man, and this is it though. But I appreciate you guys for welcoming me in. You know what I mean? This is what I'm here. You guys have anything to promote, like fundraisers or anything? I'm here. Are you guys lining up for any fundraisers, or how can they get a hold of you to raise some money for you guys?
So we do have a Facebook page. We have several. Matter of fact, can I get my guy?
Yeah. Come on, man. Yeah.
My guy, Coach McIntosh. He coaches for us as well. He is over all of our fundraisers and pretty much everything behind the scenes. So I'm gonna pass it over to him.
Okay.
It's too tall for me.
All right, there we go. Right. And you're the man to ask, and this is what it's about is promoting your guys' program, man. And how would they get a hold of you?
We'll have a couple different things coming throughout probably right after Christmas break and everything like that we'll set up throughout the spring and throughout the summer. But you can go to More Football on Facebook. There's also at More Mustang FB on Instagram or Twitter as well. Basically, whatever your preferred social media platform is, you can hit us up on there, or you can do moremustangfb@gmail.com as well.
All right, there we go, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Sorry we couldn't get you on. But but if you guys need me to help promote anything, that's what I'm saying. This is why the platform is made for the coaches, for your guys' program, man. But yeah, I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you, Devin. I appreciate you, brother. Okay, like I always say, everyone has a story. I'm here for them to tell it. Cleats to Whistle Podcast.